Cool. So some very interesting news. And the reason why it's interesting is because this isn't even something that was announced. Just straight up was working on the Syndicate, or sorry, the seasonal challenges, and lo and behold, you got a notification that there's something in the shop. And it just so happens to be 2 new packs, which aren't even at the top of the list for whatever reason. So that's interesting. In any case, it has quite a few new items, which is even weirder that they would not have done the announcement for it. I'm wondering if maybe they like accidentally like set it to automatically reveal on like console or something and just flubbed up the time. I do know that they have a planned maintenance tonight on PC, so maybe this is getting revealed as part of that on there. But in any case, it's already out here on Xbox, so that's weird. I am just going to make a post about it on Reddit, because why not? We'll see if it works. Oh wow, and it looks like you can even post to Reddit as a live stream link, and it will actually still function as a live stream. So that's cool. I wonder if it works with VODs. But in any case, like the other packs that have been released since the MBT pack, this comes in multiple versions. So in this case, they do not appear to have a... Oh, sorry, they totally do. They have a normal version, a light edition, and then a deluxe edition. So the normal edition is most likely going to stick around for, until they decide to phase it out or whatnot. And then the light edition and the Rascal or deluxe edition appear to be temporary. So in this case, it says it's going to be on the 16th of January at 4 p.m. PST. So reset time on January 16th, whatever time zone you happen to be in, I suppose. So to just start at the obvious, it has a bunch of really cool new shit in it, in the deluxe pack at least. So it has a photon cabin, which is something that's already in the game, as well as the Aurora. It has a new weapon, which is a 6 energy plasma rocket launcher, which sounds cool as hell. Let's see. So it actually incentivizes missing every second shot, which is weird. But that also means, I guess, people are going to be shooting a lot of them just in the sky, like purposefully miss, so that their next one has the increased damage and blast radius. Or maybe they're saying only if it's not a direct hit, it gets buffed. And then it's interesting to note that it doesn't have any damage fall off, so that is extremely interesting. Yokai is also funny because that is another term that is now a weapon in this game that is already something in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Completely different items. It's an autonomous, well, it's not an autonomous, it's a manually controlled drone with concussion blasts in that game. In any case, there's that. There's also a new defense module, so this is going to function sort of like the Argus, but instead of affecting destructible projectiles, such as mines, this one is going to block drones. It says other autonomous devices within 80 meters, so I presume they're saying the catch-all of drones and turrets. Maybe things like Yaoguai, which are autonomous. Maybe the Caucasus. That would be interesting to see. Although somebody would need to buy the pack to actually check it out. We have a couple of new stickers. We have some other miscellaneous parts, and then we have the red lamp. So this is, I presume, just like all the other Syndicate lamps. It's just effectively a headlight that makes a glow, in this case, which is colored red, as opposed to the purple or blue or yellow that we've already gotten. Additionally, the unique CK for this is a hubcap with a hologram, which is definitely super new. It's interesting to know it says it's activated and disabled simultaneously with the headlights. So basically, I suspect there's going to be a lot of particle effects on this one, especially if the yokai or interceptor have some sparkles when they are being activated. Actually, very interested in seeing how big the interceptor is here. Wow, that is quite the odd shape. So it's a 3x2, but missing a 1x2 slot on it. So very unique. Sorry, well, that was just the one dimension. It's a 3x2x4, missing a 1x2x4. So you could put in like a small ammo pack in the gap, or I mean whatever else. Interesting that we're getting more shapes sort of like the bootstrap generator or the off-roader side components that have these sort of cutaway parts that allow you to mesh with others. Obviously, it's a little more finicky to try and get all the parts to fit together, especially if you have a lot of modules on the build, but you know, adding some more challenge and uniqueness to building is not something I'm upset with. For structural parts, it looks like there are some more Syndicate parts that are being added. So some of these came from prior battle passes. So of course there's the parts that you get just through the engineers, the gun mount, the small buggy floor, small strut. There's some avia panel parts, some parts from the engineers, some prior parts from the Syndicate, I believe it was season 4 battle pass. And then it includes 4 new paw parts, so 2 left, 2 right. And then some other misc parts, so some scavengers, Steppenwolfs, Lunatic, and then Syndicate again. Very interesting, very sleek and chic as the Syndicate vehicles tend to look overall. So for actually test driving this is going to yeet us into the Syndicate garage, which is not available as a separate purchase, unfortunately, for all of us who want it but don't want to spend 80 some dollars. Mind you, this is Canadian, so it's going to be less in United States, I presume, probably around $60 or $70, which mind you is still the cost of a full game. But in any case, let's see, I don't think I have anything that I can test in the training ground for the Interceptor, unless I happen to get a friendly vehicle in the garage that happens to run drones or something, but none of our builds currently do. In any case, as far as activation, looks like it sort of has the same look as the what's it called, the Griffin, where it releases a blue pulse, although this one is not as enormous or visible as that one, which kind of makes sense because it's not a super crazy focal point of a build. It's also interesting that this has a ridiculously slow cooldown period for something that's active for multiple seconds, especially for effectively bodying enemies, I presume. So, or well, if they have drones. So if this affects things like mine layers, my Jaboko trial just went from being half done to like staying half done forever and ever on it. So that's going to be interesting. And then for the weapon, so if I purposefully miss, doesn't seem to buff. So I guess it's not every second shot. I guess it's if I get a near miss. So if I hit somebody directly, does the damage directly. If I hit environment, seem to be a larger blast radius, have some particle effects, make a sound effect. So that might just be how it works, where it's trying to say is if you hit the environment rather than the actual enemy, it gets bonus range and damage. Very interesting. I mean, it's a new weapon, it's a new perk, 6 energy, which means that you could slap 2 of them on a build, but you wouldn't be able to have a plethora of them, and it's going to be interesting, of course, to have more builds that are only running a couple of weapons or one weapon, since we have had a lot of 3-4 energy weapons. Very interesting. So that's the Deluxe Big Spender Edition. Also looks like it includes, I want to say I've seen this profile picture before. It might have been available in other packs. A custom banner, then a custom banner logo, which is just a stripe on the one side. Which seems not very exciting, but Who knows? Maybe somebody will buy the pack explicitly for that. And then also some coins. I also definitely did not test out the hologram. So if I turn that on, it looks like it's a spinning, almost a Ouroboros of fire, I guess. Interesting to note that because it is a hologram, it does not spin with the tires, which is good because it would have crazy rotation if it did. And then of course we have the red underglow from the red lamps being turned on underneath and in the front of the build. Oh, what? The photon cabin has lights on. Has that always been a thing? You wouldn't know, Regan, would you? I don't think you've ran it before. I did not think that the photon had integrated lights, but I've literally never used it. So maybe it has had some this entire time. I just haven't noticed. Very interesting. Huh. Okay. So there's also the basic edition, which doesn't have the CK, doesn't have the huge amount of money, but it does still have the interceptor, does still have the new weapon, does still have the structural parts, and the unique character portrait. Although again, I don't think it's unique. I think it's available in from other sources as well. And then the light edition, which is the absolute most basic version, pretty cheap. And if you're just looking for the new parts, it contains both of those. Not going to have the Aurora, but I mean, you also don't have to pay like $40 for it. So, especially since the Aurora is widely available, whereas the Yokai and Interceptor are only going to be available for now, via this pass. So I don't know if anybody's panic impulse bought it yet. Obviously, people have impulse bought the pack based off of there being like a dozen sale offers for each of the unique items so far. Wonder what they're going to settle on being price-wise. I presume the Interceptor is going to be a bit more viable than the Argus due to it possibly applying to mines. If it doesn't, like, I don't suspect it will. If it does, that would be kind of crazy because there'd be another counter to mines and you'd just be able to basically drive right over them, especially for a huge radius. For shutting down drones, I don't really see that being explicitly useful other than when you are fighting people over and over who you know that have drones. So maybe if there's people like Regan and I were just running a bus with 4 Yaguai for like a period of 2 weeks. That could be a good use case of it. But like the Argus is pretty slow at doing its job and has a very slow cooldown for the small activation window, whereas this one feels like it has a very fast cooldown for its activation window. And like I said, I feel like it can do a pretty good job of essentially shutting out people from using their drones. So for 1 energy, that might be pretty useful, especially if you run into things like Annihilator builds, or again, if it stops Caucasus as well. Very interesting to see, very interested to see what comes out of the yokai. It's an interesting premise. I like more rockets, especially ones that are single shot instead of salvo. So I guess we'll have to see what it ends up looking like. No, I can't see any other packs that offer that profile picture, but I could have sworn it was a thing beforehand. I don't suppose this will tell me if it was available for multiple sources, just the current one. It doesn't even say, it just says in a pack, not the specific one. Pretty fucking neat though. You end up watching the stream again?
Yeah. Had to see the cat's lights.
Yeah.
Do
So I
like
imagine
the cloud on the stickers on the wheels.
Cloud stickers on the wheels.
Yeah, the black swirls.
These? This?
I think so, yeah.
Not on the wheels, but on the fenders?
That's it, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's also interesting that the... Oh, this isn't a pure white paint. This is a... It has, like, striations on it. Breath of the Snowstorm. Interesting. I thought it was just a... Like, a copy-paste of the, Creation pack with, like... No, not Creation. There's another one. That had, like, a bright red and then a pure white, but...
Okay.
This is a different red. I thought it was just White Sun again, but it actually has textures on this one. So there you go, another paint to add to your collection.
Sweet.
Although I'm sure people are probably selling them for like 1,000. Oh, they haven't. Interesting. People buy the packs and they sell the. They sell all the items on it other than the paints. CKs obviously aren't tradable, and pretty much all of the buy offers for all the quick sell offers for the Photon look like they just got bought out.
Yikes.
Which makes sense because this thing's price is probably going to crash pretty hard because it doesn't actually seem terribly useful on this build specifically. And in general, especially with the Destructors, is quite good. So likewise with the Aurora, useful on a lot of different builds. You end up selling yours?
No. I think I'll hold on to it.
Yeah. I mean, like, because it's still a craftable item, and again, it's pretty useful for a lot of different scenarios, I have a feeling it'll probably drop a little bit, but not, like, go down to, like, 900 or anything crazy. So.
Yeah.
Guess we'll have to see. Having a couple more sources for the hardcore and the Maxwell are going to be good, though, because I know those are used in a couple of crafting recipes. So having those drop hopefully drops the price of the items that crafted with, and or lets people craft them for a bit cheaper. So very neat. Not really interested in the fenders, to be honest. Although they do work with the print, they are printed parts again. So people are getting closer and closer to being able to make a pretty spicy printed part build with the Deadman, I suppose. Although I think the Deadman had like integrated kind of front fenders. So having more fender parts doesn't really accomplish much in that regard, I guess. It's also funny too because the light version of it is only 4,700 power score. I suspect we're going to see a few more lowish level builds put together with this because it's actually not bad value for the cost. Like the basic version of the MBT and the patron pack, whatever it is, the one with the Deadman pack, the basic one for that, and then the basic Bravo 6 pack, I want to say neither of those actually included purple weapons. I think it was just the respective like cabins and movement parts, so it was like purple tracks and purple claws, but not any purple weapons, or maybe module. No, I guess the power unit was included as well, although it doesn't literally affect the Quasar. But in any case, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing a few more hastily slapped together low-level builds, because you can actually kind of make a build out of these parts.
Okay.
Because, I mean, like I said, the Photon's decent. If you buy at least the basic version, you have the Aurora, which buffs it. Again, I don't feel like the Interceptor works with it, or the Yokai works terribly well with it, but there's a couple, like, cheapish energy weapons you could use, like the synthesis. So pretty easy way to get like not too far, or like kind of far in the game, I suppose. Power score wise. Because like the build for $40 is like half decent.
Okay.
Other than maybe the design of the exposed aurora on the front. I guess an easy way to check the radius of this thing is just do this. Don't have no push strength. Oh, let's see if I shoot you between the wheels. Didn't do enough damage by itself. Yeah, I don't know how I'd test this unless I like set up a custom-made vehicle for it.
Yikes, okay.
I suppose I could do that though. Yeah, I can actually do this pretty easily. All I need is a big piece you hit and a big piece you miss. Okay, so if I shoot the train plow directly, it does 128, and if I shoot underneath the train plow, hit the ground, miss the vehicle. I'm not going to count that because that seemed to have hit something splody. 163. So I think the math checks out. And getting a 70% increase to explosion speed could be, or sorry, to blast radius could be quite sizable, especially if it counts as a explosive projectile, which I imagine it does. Harpy users are going to love that. Let's see where they put it. I presume it's just under rocket launchers. No, it is not. It is a energy weapon. Makes sense, I suppose. Although, makes me wonder if it applies to the Harpy or not. Very interesting. You know, in theory, they could kind of separate their special modules now, because we have 3 types of boosters. We have the power unit, we have the tormentor, and we have the averter. And then we have the interceptor and the Argus's defense modules. Although actually it counts the averter as a passive defense module rather than a weapon or part durability booster, which I guess makes sense. The CK, or the wheel is a CK. So it's a hubcap with a hologram.
Ooh,
So
that's
just
real
as basic-ish wheels. I mean, you know, they're not starter wheels. Could be worse. And then they have CK. And they activate at the same time as the headlamps.
Very nice.
I suspect we're going to see some people pick up the pack exclusively for that.
Of course, they're holograms. This part.
Yeah, gotta get more particle effects, right? You can have 2 flares, 2 activatable decor, which is probably 1 ATM dispenser, and the feathered serpent, since you can't purchase a second cash dispenser. Then you get some wheel holograms. Trying to think if there's any other holograms you can add to a build. I don't think so. I mean, it's still, the list is getting longer.
Yeah, well, there's the fireworks as well, but I think those are in the same
what?
category as the fireworks. But those are the same as the serpent.
Oh, no, you're right. No, I think fireworks were their own category. They may have been changed now.
Dope.
Yes, fireworks are their own category. They also don't appear to have a limit on how many fireworks you can have on the build. So I guess...
Uh-oh.
I don't know, never mind. It says you can only install 1 in the description. It's not at the bottom like most of the other ones that have a limitation. I don't know, I guess they are in the middle on all of them, so I'm just bad at remembering. So, yeah. So, yeah, fireworks, CK hologram for wheels, 2 flares, feathered serpent or 2 of those, and a cash dispenser if you didn't choose 2 feathered serpent.
Can you toss out there
And then
like
2
multiple
holograms.
holograms? Then? Oh, there. You
Yeah, so you can just definitely make a particle party.
go. I'm gonna assume that they optimized it. It's all good.
One can hope. I think we're setting our expectations a little high though, aren't we? So obviously I don't have the new thing and I'm not spending the money to do that, but you can already get I'm not gonna slap on a firework either since they are limited time. But you can roll something like that already. And then mind you too, there's also like the parts like the exhaust you see on the back also release particle effects. So if you really wanted to be crazy, you could actually run the Yokozuna, since its special ability also buffs particle effects from exhaust pipes. So slap some of those on. Mind you too, I don't think there's a limit on most of these decor pieces, so you can just go crazy on them as well. Normally.
Plus, depending on how many has for the hologram, you could get.
Well, the CKs are infinite, so as many wheels as you want, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think that's about as crazy as you can get. Oh, actually, you can also get the particle effects from a horn. Multiple horns, I guess. Technically, there's nothing stopping you from running multiple of those as well. Add that so the camera shows the particles. Oh, it does not. Okay. Rude F. Then of course you slap some laps on the build as well. You just be a neon tragedy.
Gotta stand out.
Yeah. Gotta crash people who are still running the old gen Xbox, right, Regan?
It's holding up, going strong, you know. It's not dead yet.
Yeah, right.
See how it is after this update.
Yeah. Wonder if they've made a post about it yet. Oh, there's multiple people making posts about it. Well, everybody got to hop on the karma train before the devs realize their mistake. Oh, there they go. Yeah, they totally just made the post about it on the actual website. Excellent. Okay, so I can probably delete the stream then, or delete the red post rather, and the stream. I guess doesn't really make sense to quote unquote show it off if it's already officially available, I suppose. Well, that was a very interesting, neat little side note while we're working on the challenges.
Yeah.
Back to the grind, I suppose.